Welcome back to the channel. My name is Douglas, and in today's video, I'm going to walk you through downgrading from MPC 3 to MPC 2. So maybe you did the update, you're not a fan of the new workflow, you don't like it, or you want to use some of the features, you want to record in something other than a 4/4 time signature, or you want to use some of the other little missing things that MPC 3 doesn't have that MPC 2 did, and you want to downgrade. I'm going to walk you through three different options. I have the MPC key 61 in front of me. I can only use two options for this, but if you have the MPC key 37, it opens up a third option. Let's jump into them. So one, and the method we're going to use is plugging a USB cable from the MPC into the computer, doing the downgrade that way. We could also use a USB thumb drive because we've got USB ports on the MPC key 61. We could do the downgrade with a USB thumb drive, and if you have the key 37, for example, that has an SD card slot, you can downgrade off of an SD. We can't use that with the MPC key 61 because it has no SD card slot. So our options here are USB thumb drive or a USB cable. We're gonna use this method. I'm gonna show you both though, just in case you prefer one method over another. You are going to also need a computer in order to do the update with the cable or to grab the file and put it onto the thumb drive or the SD card. So I have my computer here, and then I've got my MPC key 61 turned on. Let's take a look in here. If I just tap on new project, I have updated my MPC key 61 to the MPC 3 software. If we come into the menu and preferences, you'll see my firmware is at 3.4.1, which is the public release. Now, if I tap on this update button here, you see three options here. Online update, which is not an option because we're not updating, we're downgrading. So that one, strike that out. We can't use that. USB drive update, that's going to be if you're using an SD card or a USB thumb drive. And then switch to update mode. We're going to be doing that because that's when you've got the MPC plugged from there into the computer. Now, one important note before you actually do this downgrade process is if you've built any projects in MPC 3 or you've converted any of your MPC 2 projects to MPC 3, those aren't going to be backwards compatible with MPC 2. There's some workaround. You could export all your tracks as audio tracks and then bring those into an MPC 2 project, but it's not the same. So just keep that in mind, is that if you're downgrading anything you've done in MPC 3, you're not going to be able to use in MPC 2. So be mindful of that before you do this downgrade process. So let's jump over to the computer, and I'm going to show you where to go grab these. So if you open up your browser and go to akaipro.com and then come over to the downloads page and tap on the MPC series downloads tile here on the screen. Scroll down a little bit and you're going to see this manually update your MPC section. And we have the MPC key 37, 1, X, 1 Plus, XSE, Live 2, Live, and down here, MPC key 61. So we're gonna come down, you have the MPC Studio as well, but that doesn't have MPC 3, so it's kind of out of the question here. So under MPC key 61, because that's the one that we're downgrading, you see the option for 3.4, that's the latest, or we can go down to 2.15.1, which is the latest stable release for version 2. So again, I mentioned a couple of options. PC, if we tap download on that, it's going to download the updater, and that is going to allow us to update plugged in with a USB cable. The USB option, it's going to download this image file, and that is what we're going to put on the SD card or the thumb drive. So I've downloaded both of those. I'm going to come over to the directory that those are downloaded into. And again, you can see I downloaded both, the updater.exe, that's what we're going to use, and then the .img or the image file that you would use if you were going to put it on a thumb drive. So let's take our USB thumb drive, plug that into the computer. And this is the exact same process for the SD card as well. So if you wanted to use the SD card with like the 37, you could plug that in and then put the image file on there. With the thumb drive, we're going to take that image file and we're going to put that, you can either drag it, which will copy it onto your thumb drive, or you could right click and copy, which is this icon here or up here. And then you could come over to your thumb drive and you could right click and paste, or it's going to be that icon there if I had copied. So again, this is copying onto the thumb drive. Once that's complete, we can pull the thumb drive out. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to take this thumb drive and we're going to put it in the back of the MPC. There's a couple of USB ports on the back of the 61. 37 has one. That would work. So then we could tap on update. We could do USB drive update. And then you'll see that it automatically read. So when I put it on the thumb drive, I put it right in the base folder. I didn't put it in any directories or anything like that. And you'll see that it read the image file that's on that thumb drive. And it says this drive contains firmware update 2.15.1, but you're currently running 3.4.1. Do you want to downgrade now? So you'd hit downgrade, let it do its thing. We're going to walk through that process using a USB cable though. So I'm going to hit cancel here. So to do our actual downgrade, we're going to grab the USB cable, and I never remember if it's A or B, but it's the square end or squarish end. That's going to go into the back of the MPC key 37, 61, or whatever MPC device you're using. We're going to plug the other end into the computer. Our computer's going to recognize it. That's fine. We have the MPC key 61 turned on. Now what we're going to need to do is over on our computer, you'll see that we have this MPC 2.15.1 updater.exe. Double click on that executable file. And if you're on a Mac, it might look a little bit differently because if we come back to the website, you would have downloaded the Mac version here. USB doesn't matter, just one option there, but if you're using the USB cable, you're going to need to download which one's applicable for the system you're using. Now, before we click on Update MPC, we're going to come over to the MPC, and as that's coming to a finish, you're now going to see it switches to Programming Update. So now it's going to walk through the actual update process, and you'll see now it says Done. So if I click on Done, coming back over to the MPC, it's doing a restart now. You'll see it's no longer in update mode. That's switched. And this can take a few minutes, so be patient. Don't unplug the MPC or do anything like that. Be patient, let it run its course. So now that that's complete, it's gonna pop up and say new plugin instruments are available if there are any available. We're gonna say don't show again because we can always get those in the menu. You'll notice now I'm back to this old MPC2 style screen, and I can tap on empty project, come into my main screen here, and I'm back to the old setup, the MPC2 software. Now again, as I mentioned, going back to MPC2, it's not going to be compatible with the projects you built in MPC3 or converted to MPC3, so you're not going to be able to open those, but now you're off to the races with the old MPC2 software. Hopefully this was helpful for you in giving you a couple of the different options in order to downgrade your MPC from 3 to 2. If you've got any questions, throw those down in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. I'm going to update my 37 to MPC 3. That way I've got 1 on 2, 1 on 3, and I can do some comparisons between the two systems, as well as you guys continue to have questions on MPC 2, I'm able to answer those because I have 2 different devices running each version of the operating system. Again, let me know if you have questions. I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching. Stay inspired and keep making that music.